This is a simplified workflow of the process that DOE has laid out for the rebate tracking. But this basically shows the flow from rebate application, the different stakeholders that are involved with it, through the approval process, the rebate or the coupon redemption rather at a vendor, and the completion of the work. This system covers what can be a very complex process or flow of information that includes all the data that transacts the system. It includes integrations to external systems and other components within the system. It's a back end, it's a front end that users interact with. There's a lot going on here. This also covers all of the different roles of the stakeholders that will be involved with this. So you see here these horizontal lines that run left to right. The labels are off here on the side, but you can see, so you got the installer, the building owner, the occupant, if it's a tenant occupied versus owner occupied, the vendor, the state, the third party, the back end or the integrator, DOE, and then other external data sources. And I'll get into some examples of all those here shortly. One thing to note is that even though I've highlighted this one section in blue, that's really just the back end of the system. These top four lines are also components of the system. It's what's exposed to the users, and each of those lanes are the different roles. So contractors in this top lane, but they're doing things within the system. The homeowner is this lane, they're doing things within the system. So if you think about the top section here is the front end, this blue down here is the back end, and then the interactions with the other entities around it. What's nice about this, though, is that we can take this or components of this and actually expose it to various end users so that they can visualize where they are in the process. And I'll show you this here in just a minute, where it'll highlight where they are in a particular step. So it's very clear if they're stalled at a step of the process, they can see exactly where that's at. If they're wondering what comes next, they can look at a picture and see what's next. And it really helps reduce the customer service load that you might run into if you didn't have that, where people hit submit and it goes off into a void, and now they're wondering what's next, or what are the following steps. And now I'm going to take on the role of a reviewer that comes and looks at this and say, okay, well, let's see all the information. They claim that much income. Let me look at their tax return. Okay, there it is. I can review everything they submitted, and then this is a super simple. Just say, okay, yep, this one passes muster. It looks good. This application is then going to come down to the back end of the system and run through a number of verification checks. If it passes all those verification checks, it'll continue on and we'll request the reservation from DOE. So we'll send all the information off to DOE. They're going to do their thing. They're going to generate all of the rebate reservation, send that back to us. We're then going to take that and generate the coupon. From there, we've got a break in this section of the workflow. The installer is going to continue working with their client. They're going to go out to a vendor, right? So in this case, it'll be Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the other improved vendors out there, and they're going to redeem that coupon to purchase the equipment. So this is an example of just a closeout form. A lot of this is data that's mandated by DOE to collect and to have on the invoice. There's a lot of reporting requirements that are in here as well from DOE. So there's a lot of information that has to be collected along the way. So this would be the closeout. The installer, once they're done with everything, they're going to submit all of this, and it'll go through another validation and make sure that the money was spent properly. There are a couple scenarios where it's DIY, where it'll actually be the homeowner that can submit and get the rebates themselves. There's scenarios where it's an aggregator that does. So there's 16 different combinations of stakeholders and scenarios of electrification versus efficiency with measured versus modeled, and all these different combinations there. So we've got essentially 16 different workflows, if you will, and we can handle all of those in this system.